I'm Lisa from sewnlife.com. Welcome to my channel. If you're a regular here, welcome back. If you are new, it's nice to see you. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to make a summer tiered skirt. Okay, actually it doesn't need to be summer, it can be any season. It's just because I'm making it in the summer. So we're going to do a tiered skirt, and there doesn't need to be a pattern, you're just going to have two measurements, okay? So the two measurements that you are going to need is your waist. So you're going to need to measure yourself all around your waist and take that measurement. And then you're going to need to know the height of the length of your skirt. So you're going to need from the top of your waistband down to the bottom of where you want the skirt to finish, okay? So taking those two measurements, you can then work out how deep the panels are going to be. So let's get into it in a little bit more detail. Right, so the way that you do the calculation to make it as simple as possible is, first of all, find the finished length of your skirt. So that is the length that you want your skirt to measure from the top of your waistband down to the very bottom of the hem. Now, for this example, I've used 90 centimetres. And then all you need to do is add 11 centimetres onto that, and that equals 101 centimetres for this example. Now, that 11 centimetres takes into account 5 centimetres extra for your waistband, 2 centimetres for the hem at the bottom, and then 4 centimetres for the seam allowances where you attach the three panels together. Okay, so your total of 101 centimetres just simply then needs to be divided by 3, which is 34. So I've rounded it up to 34. So each of your three panels is going to be 34 centimetres high. Okay, so that's the height of the panel, and then you now need to calculate the width of the panel. So I've used a fabric which is 140 centimetres wide, so you may have one that is wider or less wide, so you will just need to adjust your measurements as you want to. But basically, for the top panel, I've used one fabric width, so that's 140 centimetres. For the next panel, I've used 1.5 times the width, so 140 centimetre one, and then an extra 70 centimetre one. And then for the last panel, I've used 2 fabric widths, so that will be 140 plus another width of 140. So you're dealing with quite big pieces of fabric here. When I bought the fabric to make this skirt, I bought 2 meters, which was just enough. So if you are having a fabric that is you're wanting more gathers and you want to increase these widths here, you'll obviously need to buy more fabric, but this works pretty well. So this is the first panel, and I'm going to put the right sides together like that, and I'm going to pin and then sew the two ends together. I'm also going to do a zigzag stitch on the outside, and that's just so that it will stop fraying. I don't want this to fray. If I'd got an overlocker, I could do 2 of those rows in one, but I don't, so I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. So now it's all in one continuous piece now, and then on the wrong side we're going to create the waistband. So turn the top over by 1 centimetre, and then turn it over again by about another 3 centimetres, or just over 1 inch, and pin it, and then go all the way around exactly the same. And what you will need to do is leave a space of about 10 centimetres, which is not sewn, and that's where the elastic is going to be threaded through. So you're going to sew all the way around, but leave a gap of about 10 centimetres. Right, so the top panel now has got the section there that's going to be the waistband, ready for the elastic to go in, but I'm not going to put the elastic in now. You can see as well there, look, the little hole. I'm not going to put the elastic in now. I'm going to leave it flat like that, because I think it will make the next step easier when the second panel gets added on. So we're going to start doing the second panel now. Okay, so with the second panel now, I've got one whole width, the same as the first, and then I've got another half a width of fabric. So what I want to do is put them all right sides together and sew down there, exactly the same as I did for the other one, and sew there, so that everything's attached in one big loop. So what we're going to do now is gather this up so that it's ready to attach to the top piece. So you want to mark it into 4 sections, just because it's too big a piece to all gather up in one section. So it makes it quite easy if you gather it into 4. So I am just going to mark here where these sections are, here, and then another one at the other end. Okay, so this now is cut into 4 sections. So what we're going to do now is go ahead, and for each quarter I'm going to do 2 rows of stitching on the biggest stitch possible. So the stitch length is going to be 5, and I'm going to leave long pieces at the end, so I'm going to do it in all for all 4 sections. All the way around now in these 4 sections there are 2 rows of stitching, and then at the end of the stitching there's the ends. So what needs to happen now is this second piece needs to fit onto the top piece. Okay, so this all needs to be gathered up until it is the same size as that piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by eye and just start gathering up. Right, so I've got these 2 pieces of cotton at the end, 1 for each row, and I'm just going to pull it. So I've just done 2, pulled up 2, so that's half of my skirt. And just to give me an idea if I'm sort of on track, I'm just going to lay it against that second section. I can see that actually it's a little bit big, so I'm going to pull it up a little bit more, do some more gathers. Feels about right. Now I'll go on to the other 2 sections. Now that I've gathered it up by eye, what I'm going to do is get a little bit more specific, and each of my sections needs to be gathered up to about 30 centimetres. And I know that because I've measured, this, the width of the top panel. So I'm going to put some knots in here, and I'm going to start, it's too much here, I'm going to start pulling it so that each section is 30 centimetres and doesn't move when it's got the knots in. Okay, you can see now how this gathered panel is the same size as this top panel. So this is the top panel and the middle panel. So what I'm going to do is put these right sides together and pin them here. Okay, so these stitches will be taken out at the end. What I am going to do is find one of my seams and match it up to one of the seams on the top panel, and then I'm just going to go all the way around and pin that together. Okay, so they're both attached to each other now, they fit very nicely. So the first thing that I'm going to do now is sew all the way around there and attach those 2 pieces. Right, so this is attached now, and what I need to do now is pull out these threads that were the gathering stitches that are in there. Right, so none of those stitches are visible now. All the safety stitches, the gathering stitches have gone. So what I need to do now is go inside and just tidy this up, because actually this fabric really frays. And then I'm going to do a zigzag stitch all around the edge to stop it fraying. Okay, so last panel now. There's 2 full widths of the fabric in this last panel, so they just need to be attached right sides together. So I'll just go to the sewing machine and sew these so that these are in one big round. Right, so this is the third and final panel, and the same process as before. So it's now been sewn together, and what I've got is I've got markings here. So I've got the 4 sections that I am going to do gathering stitches in. So across the top I'll gather each of those 4 sections separately. Okay, so this is now the third panel that has been gathered up, and I am just putting it up against the second panel, and it is about the right size. So what I'm going to do is now right sides together, attach this panel to this panel and start pinning it together. The third panel is now attached to the second panel, and I am just going to sew all the way around there, and then I'm going to do a zigzag stitch as well. Okay, so now we've got all three panels together, 1, 2, 3, and the next job is to add a hem. So what I'm going to do is turn it over by centimetre and another centimetre, and pin it and go all the way around doing that. It might take a while because this is a lot of fabric. So the next step is to take this to the sewing machine and sew a single line of stitching and give it a hem. Okay, so the hem's all nicely finished now. So the last thing to do now is sort out the waistband. So I've got my elastic here, and this is the hole that I left. So I'm going to thread this through the waistband. I've attached an elastic. I've attached a safety pin. Couldn't think of the name of it then. And I'm just simply going to thread it all through here. So, okay, so I know that the waist of this needs to be 80 centimetres. So what I've done is I'm just measuring that. So that's 40 because I've got it doubled up. And I have put a pin in where it's going to be attached. Oops, that's very loud. So just double measure. Yeah. So what I want to do now is I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to place the elastic one over the other, and I know that I want to sew on that line there and that line there. So I'm going to sew that elastic together. Okay, so to complete the waistband, this section that was unsewn just needs to be sewn up. So just a line of stitching down there. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is because I'm going to hold this elastic in position. And what I mean by that is that sometimes these elastic things can sort of move out quite a bit. So I'm going to stretch the elastic really, really tight like that. And I'm going to sew 2 lines of stitching down there. I can't just sew it like that, because if I do, then obviously I can't use the elastic. So I'll pull it tight, sew 2 lines, and then it will shrink back into place and it will hold the elastic in place. Okay, so that has really worked well for the waistband. So it's just an added little thing. And then the skirt is now ready. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you've come and made a really beautiful tiered skirt in whatever fabric you've used. So let me know below, what fabric did you use and how did it turn out? What did you think of it? I am very grateful that you spent your time with me today, so thank you very much. Have a look at the rest of my videos. I've got lots and lots of videos, lots and lots of projects. So choose the next project that you want to do and hop on over to there, and I will see you there. So thanks again, and I'll see you straight in the next video. Okay, bye for now. Bye for now.